Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you're watching this. As always, I'm your host, Mr. A, and this is the set 6145. Real people telling real stories. And today's no different. Today I have an artist that I'm welcoming to the show. And as you know, artists come in all forms of fashion, whether it be photography, visual art, music, or what have you. Being creative is the name of the game. And today my guest does just that. And he's come a long way from where he started. So I want to welcome to the show Mr. Doobie Duke Sims of Snow Milk.
Hey, thank you for having me. Much respect, my Brooklyn brother.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. It's crazy to find out that we sort of have that sort of kinship in Brooklyn.
That's what it's supposed to be, man.
Yeah, man.
It's Brooklyn. Brooklyn has a lot of people, but
absolutely,
even still, when you got the real ones.
It's crazy because if you look at Brooklyn as a whole, it's like a next to Queens. I say that those two boroughs are the most representative of what America's supposed to be like. That melting pot.
Integrated, right.
Super integrated. There's so many different cultures.
Facts.
Like in Bay Ridge, now there is a high volume of Arabian, or like different peoples from that region of the world.
Word.
You can find Iranian people there, people from Iraq, Kuwait, Yemenis, like all different.
Word.
But the best part I like about it is the food that they bring with them.
For sure, culture.
I could definitely
culture.
Appreciate that.
What I like most out of anything about being from Brooklyn was like, having like Russian people, Albanian people, Italian people, Jewish people, like Muslim people, like anything Puerto Rican, like just everything that you could possibly be all together and be like, yo, you want to go play basketball? I bet. Boom. And just like, these are your friends. So like, it kind of like erases there was a lot of racism growing up. I'm not going to say that, but it kind of like erased racism for me, at least, to be like, nah, that's just, what? It's my man's, like, what you talking about?
It helps to grow up in that because then you start to see the world, like how the outside world is, how they treat people, right? Because growing up in Brooklyn, I can remember going to Borough Park to play ball, right? Sure. And Borough Park is a huge Hasidic community.
Jewish people were.
There were 2 or 3 Hasidic kids that would show up to the court and they could fucking hoop.
Word.
They'd be in their yarmulkes.
Just busting it.
Yeah.
No, that's what I love about Brooklyn, man. Basketball is like street ball. That's how I feel about basketball. It's like you could put me anywhere in the world. If they're playing basketball, I got next. You know what I'm saying? Like, period.
Yeah, and once you start proving that you could hoop, people fuck with you. They're like, yo.
It's Brooklyn. I mean, that's how we grew up. We grew up playing basketball, like, or handball. But basketball is really like the universal one. When you go anywhere in the world and be like, oh, I got next. Boom. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're playing 21, Utah? Boom, I'm in it. You know what I mean?
You think these young kids know what Utah is?
I think so. I see people playing 21. Like, I still see them playing. I think the thing when I see people playing 21 is just how aggressively are they playing it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes they're just playing no defense. It's just like whatever. But if you see them really playing 21 where it's like, ooh, it's like, you might jump in and be like, okay, let me see.
Yeah.
If they're playing really lackadaisical, it's like, it's going to be easy to score. They're like kids.
Yeah.
Just blah, blah, blah. But
so let's start your journey from the beginning, because I understand that, my guest is a multifaceted artist. So he didn't start in fashion. He actually started in music. And a lot of people liken people in that vein to being Renaissance, whereas they don't stay in one vehicle of artistry and expression. They'll do music, they'll do visual art, they'll do photography. It's just just being creative is their focus. And I understand that you were a musician at heart. Like, that's where your talent, you first started exploring being and expressing yourself creatively. Where does that, is that a family thing or it was just you?
Well, my dad always has loved music. My mom's loved music. My mom was like a hippie, so I grew up with music. But public school in Brooklyn, they made me choose an instrument in 3rd grade, and that's when I started playing the saxophone. The 2nd grade, they had me playing the recorder.
Everybody starts there.
Yeah, we start with the recorder, right? So 2nd grade, my daughter's in kindergarten now. She's 5. So 2nd grade, it's like 7. So if the age of 7, I started playing the recorder. By 8, I'm playing saxophone. I'm playing saxophone from the age of 8 all the way until high school. And at the age of 8 on saxophone, I was like a prodigy. So I just like got it really quickly, and then they gave me all the solos. And so I became like the #1, saxophone player. And then I would stand up play all the solos. And I went to like magnet schools, always for music. And I was just locked in that saxophone. And I just did saxophone, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. 9th grade, I dropped out of high school after 10th grade. I played the saxophone in 9th grade. Then I switched to guitar, right? A bunch of things happened in life. It's time to write songs, teach myself how to write songs. You know what I mean? Learn how to record, produce, make albums. And I did albums. And then, like, long story short, started a band called Shinobi Ninja. And that's what, like, most people, like, knew me from, Shinobi Ninja, prior to Snow Milk. And I was in a band for a decade. And, we had a song in NBA 2K. We were on tour for, like, a decade. Like, people really loved us. And we really did it super DIY. I was in magazines and MTV and playing huge festivals. But I also played, like, shows in front of nobody. And I slept on, people's couches and on people's floors and like, ate at Waffle House. Like, I love Waffle House. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Like, I just lived it. And so music's my whole life. And how I earned, like, even besides that was just engineering, producing. And I used my musical skills as far as being an engineer because I started doing albums. When I was basically 17, I put out an album like every year since the age of 17, like all the way up until maybe like a couple years ago at like 40. I was like, now I'm gonna just do this fashion thing because it was really calling my name. Maybe like last year. I put out an album this year too. I will always put out music. I've always done music. And that's just, I've always known how to engineer and produce music. Like I went to music conservatory. Like I went to music conservatory and that's all I did. I graduated. You know what I'm saying? Sight singing, ear training. Like all I did music was my whole life. And somehow, I answered a Craigslist ad when my daughter was about to be born. The lead singer of Shinobi Ninja is my wife. And when I had to get off the road, she was getting bigger. My daughter was about to be born. I answered a Craigslist ad for a print shop in Williamsburg. And then, it's like I became a fashion designer after about like 3 years of teaching myself how to print and doing print jobs. I was doing print jobs for the bands. I would do print jobs for the pizzeria. I would do print jobs for the bar. You know what I mean? I taught myself how to print from YouTube after a couple months of being there. Then I built a recording studio in there, and I had a recording studio, and I was running the print shop. I was making double money. It wasn't until I came up with Snow Milk during the pandemic. I just had the idea. I was already printing on upcycled clothes because I had no money, so I couldn't afford anything other than thrift store clothes and get them at the cheapest possible price. Absolutely. And then I can print on all of them, and I would print on my ideas, whatever my ideas were. I had an idea of Kanye West holding Kurt Cobain as a baby, and I put Kurt and Kanye on it. It was like a big seller. But like I put my ideas on the clothing, and then once I came out with Snow Milk, then I had the brand to put with the ideas, and people really liked Snow Milk. It just sounded good, and it's just like, then I just started feeding the Snow Milk, and then people just liked it, and I focused on what they liked, and I stopped doing what they didn't like, and I started popping up and selling. And then like the term, it's like perception is reality.
Absolutely.
And like, especially with the internet, like whatever people like W as, like you can try to say you're not that, but it's like, that's what they are. They have titled you that. It's almost being like a wrestler. Wrestlers, they be having different gimmicks, right? First they come out of this, and then all of a sudden they switch the gimmick and they move to another one. Like I went from being like, people would call me Shinobi Ninja, yo, Shinobi Ninja, to like people would call me Snow Milk now. Yo, Snow Milk, come here, bro, blah, blah. So it's like I became a fashion designer when people decided that I was a fashion designer, but I never like wanted to be a fashion designer because I didn't know who a fashion designer was or even had any care of fashion designing. Like I just like music. I just did music. They named me call me a fashion designer because I make fashion. But other than that, it's just like I'm still a musician that's like making clothing now. Yeah, I'm just making clothing.
Wow. It's crazy because in all that, I think people really got a full understanding of who you are, right? In the journey, I think is more something I want to kind of focus on because being a kid and being able to express yourself and do music so early on, there's a huge learning curve when it comes to playing instruments, especially the woodwind instruments, right? So you have to learn proper embouchure so you can hit notes, for sure. So on and so forth. You have to have good breath control. Right. There's everything that plays a role in that. At what point are you playing? Do you realize early on, like, yo, I'm fucking good at this? Or
I was just a kid.
As you went on, you were just being a kid?
Like I was just.
Was it fun?
Playing the saxophone?
Yeah.
I love playing the saxophone. I mean, I still dream about it and think about it. I still own a saxophone. I feel like I own a saxophone. It might be in stores. Maybe I don't. Maybe I had to sell it. But saxophone is like the 3 and the 3. You got your sharps over here, and it's like the 3 and the 3. It's like you can't like forget that. Same thing as like guitar. Like you rocking, like you could play guitar at like say you played guitar and boom, and it's like you're older, much older, and somebody hands you a guitar. You go into those same positions. You're gonna play it like same thing. Dun, 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 dun. You're gonna play the same thing because it's like that's what the guitar wants from you. Saxophone the same way. Absolutely. Did I like realize that I was like, nah, I mean they told me that I was, but it's like I would, it's just like playing basketball. It's just like that's what we do. We just have fun like playing the saxophone. What does that mean in the concept of like a 7-year-old or 8-year-old? It's just like that's what they're teaching me. They're telling me I have to play this. So I'm playing it. You know what I mean? Like, can we go to recess now? Oh, we can go to recess? All right, boom, dodgeball. Like, it's whatever they're telling you to do. I think once I got to I went to magnet school, 6th grade. So the junior high school I went to was for that music magnet. I was in the band. And then, once I got out of the band, scenario at 9th grade was my last one at Lafayette High School. It was a really rough high school. And so that program was really rough compared to like how the junior high school was. It was like you had your music teacher and it was like, come on guys, serious, like we're playing this shit, we're gonna do these fucking recitals, like this is serious. And then high school was just like, bro, I'm just trying to stay alive, like they robbing us.
I was just gonna ask you that because I know at that time in the late 80s into the 90s, Lafayette, Lincoln, Grady, a lot of those schools, Boys and Girls, Erasmus, around Brooklyn, you knew if you went to school there, be ready because something was gonna happen. So what was your experience like in Laf? Like, was it still heavy like that? Were Decepticons still in Lafayette at that time? Was it gang activity at that time? What was it like for you?
The thing about Lafayette is right across the street from the projects. So it's like you had the big racial dynamic. My first year of high school, Lafayette would have been 95, and I would have graduated in 99, but I dropped out. But it was just dangerous. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, I think they closed it down. I remember seeing this one kid that I knew. He was on the front of like the New York Post, and it just said "Hell High." That's all it said was "Hell High," and I'm like, yo, that's the school that I go to. Like, how did I go from a fucking magnet school to like, this? Yo, we getting robbed by girls? You know what I mean? Like, girls are just like pulling up. It's like, yo, I'm like, oh my god, I'm like little small white kid with like long hair. Like, I wasn't really prepared for that. But
culture shock.
I just dropped out. I mean, it wasn't culture shock from being in the hood. I grew up in the hood, but it was like the aspect of learning and danger. Like those two things are a crazy mix. Like most people won't really, I know there's school shootings and stuff now, which is a vibe, but like learning and danger, most people are not like navigating those two things together. But going to Lafayette, Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, racist energy with Italians and, black kids and just like that vibe and like how I fit in is like a little like Quaker kid, like shit didn't even make no sense. Like I'm just trying to survive. So I just dropped out and then, I just started cutting school, dropped out, got into trouble, went to BMCC, didn't graduate that. And then I ended up at Five Towns College Music Conservatory, finally locked in, paid attention like 65% of the time, graduated, and then off into the music world I went.
I got to ask you, what was the response from your parents when you were going through that phase where you were like, yo, I'm going to school in a war zone. I can't do this shit. It's not helping me. It's not good for me mentally either. But now your parents are basically on the outside looking in, seeing their son. I don't know if you have siblings. And they're like, yo, like this kid is a musical genius. Now he's in this school. Now he drops out. What the fuck? What is going to become of his life? And they're seeing you hit these obstacles, in their minds, especially as a parent. The things that your kids do, they affect you in such a tremendous way. And I don't think kids really understand that until they become parents.
Of course.
So were they really taken aback, surprised, or did they become overly aggressive? Like, hey, you got to get your life together. Like, how was that situation for you?
Yeah, my dad's more the aggressive one. My mom's more the like, give me homeopathic remedies and like, David, tell me how you're feeling. But my dad was like, listen, bro, you need to get your GED. You need to like, gawk. My dad's a computer programmer. He's like super data analytic driven. My dad's super smart. So he was just like, bro, you need to get your GED. And the thing about the GED for me was like, I dropped out. I had to get my GED so I can go into community college.
Absolutely.
But the thing about the GED, I was just lost. Like I was lost in life prior to even going to high school. So like the high school thing was probably just like the point to just like drive in that direction of the story. But
That was the linchpin of it all. Like you were going, what were you dealing with before you hit high school?
well, like my sister died when I was 11.
Wow.
She got hit by a car. We were playing outside in Bensonhurst. She was 6 years old and I was 11. So that right there for me, like I was really normal. You know, I was good at sports, good at music, like super normal. And then like that moment happened and my sister got hit by a car and then she ended up in the hospital. So it's like she ended up in the hospital. I ended up in the hospital because like, you know,
sister.
I'm 11. I'm 10 years old. I'm 11 years old. And it's like, now this has happened to my family. And they, you know, trying to save my sister. She was in a coma. She had to get a trach. I went to this kids hospital for like trauma, kids that had trauma. And it was just like really crazy for like a 10, 11-year-old. It was just like, whoa, like what just happened in the story? Like shit done schismed out. So by the time I was like 14 and it was like high school and now it's like super dangerous, it's like, nah, bro. Like my parents were already like, it was already lining up towards me because I was already like, you know, I had to deal with that and like try to figure that out as like a kid. Like, why did this happen? Is it my fault? Like, you know, it's just super heavy stuff. So high school was like, sure, go ahead. But the GED, once I got my GED, and the GED was like a big moment in my life because it was like, I wouldn't have gotten my GED. I still was lost, and I was lost for a long time. So even graduating like college and all that stuff, still it took me so long to line up. Now I feel really good, but like it took me a long time to line up. But it's like the GED, like I was still cutting school. Like I still was cutting GED school, and I'm super smart. You know what I mean? I don't say that with like ego. I'm just saying like I'm very smart.
Right.
So like the fact that I couldn't apply myself to get a GED was like I was lost. But I saw this kid. Like my dad would come to the GED program, I wouldn't be there. You know what I mean? So he was just like struggling. He's like, what am I gonna do with my son? Like you're saying, right? But I saw this kid at the GED school and it was like, he had some type of, I don't know what the PG, politically correct word would be, but he had some type of mental disability. I don't know if that's the word, but it's like, I saw him get his GED and I like had to internally look at myself and be like, bro,
what's wrong with
like, you need to just get
Buckle
your GED.
down.
Like,
Yeah.
So I got my GED, and that's how I finally like finished my high school, you know, quote unquote high school vibes. But to go back to your question, like Lafayette, like that was just like, let me just shift over. I was already for my parents. I just like my heart goes out to them as like a parent. It's like I just couldn't even imagine. But I also feel like, you know, I've done right by them, like as a son. Like I don't disrespect people. Like I earn correctly. You know, I have 2 kids. I'm a stand-up person. You know, I speak from my heart and I only want to inspire people to do the same. So I feel like if that like evens out that like the low,
that bump in the road.
It was just part of it. It had, you know, I had to have one thing to catch the other one.
You know, it's funny that you say all these things in the context that you do, because I think a lot of people take things that happen in life for granted. In that instance where you're losing your sister, people don't really understand that in reality, you're a child and your siblings are your world. They're everything to you. So as a father, I could understand you getting knocked off your axis per se when that moment happens. And it takes that amount of time for you to be like, okay, I got to get my shit together. I got to buckle down. I got to focus myself, because that's fucking traumatic. You lost somebody who was essentially a part of you, your sister. Right? And now you move forward and you make it through. And the crazy thing about that is you actually had moments of clarity where you self-reflected and you were like, yo, you know what? I need to hold myself accountable. This dude who has a mental illness is fucking rocking out getting A's and I'm here fucking up. You know, I don't come from shit. Like I'm a smart guy. Let me get my shit together. You know what I'm saying?
Had to do it.
And the message that you just delivered regarding, you know, you want to be inspiring and be positive. You know, when I see the brand and I see the clips of people and you guys doing work, you know, it seems like it's fun. You guys are having a lot of fun being creative and you're doing something to do it and contribute like to what's going on around you. So in that sort of vein, I want to ask you, like, where the influences from when you're in this creative mode? Because to go from being a musician to now designing clothing, Like, where are the ideas coming from?
I mean, I just think I'm naturally creative. I just am a creative person. Like, I just understand. Like, I don't know, man. I saw like Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, and I saw like movies like Never-Ending Story, Labyrinth. I grew up with like Jim Henson and the Muppets and like Sesame Street and like trippy shit. You know what I mean? I tripped on acid. You know what I mean? I smoked weed. I cut school. I grew up in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Like, art to me is just like, that's what I've always done. It's just a matter of putting it in songs. Like if you take a song, like a song structure, you have like, your intro, you got your first verse, you got your chorus, you got your second verse, you got your second chorus, you got a bridge, hit them with the double chorus at the end with the outro, it's over.
And we done.
That's the structure, right? You're thinking about clothes, it's like, okay, we got our front, we got our back, we got the sides, we got the sleeves, we got the hood. And you got both sides of the hood and you got both sides of the sleeves. And you can kind of just like live in the structure of clothing. Because that's what people know. And it's just a medium that because I answered the Craigslist ad and I was able to like access it, like I taught myself how to print from YouTube. So once I had the skill set to print, I always had Photoshop skills. I always been creative. And it's just a matter of just like, how do I earn? Do you know what I'm saying? Like I have a baby, like how do I earn? And it's not about like how good I am at writing songs or how catchy my hooks are. People always say, oh, bro, you should be writing for Rihanna. You be writing a crazy, your songs be sticking in my head, bro. You so good at songs. I'm like, cool. I'm so good at songs, but it's like I don't even have a bank account. Do you know what I'm saying? I have a kid on the way, so I got to figure it out. Fashion for me has become a thing where I can like earn. Do you know what I mean? I could take my creativity, which is like a constant. That's a regardless, you know what I mean? That's the easy part. Like being creative has always been easy. Music has always been easy for me. Music business was a little bit harder. You had to navigate the music business. And the music business is something, especially when you're young and you don't know what it is. You don't know how the structure works, how politics works. You just care about, yo, I just wrote this chorus. Check it out. I'll be And you're just like, it might sound really cool, but it's like, there's a business side to the music business, which is really about politics and lawyers and record labels and who thinks you're cool and going to this party. And it's really not about like, I've been in the studio for 4 years, I'm practicing my craft. That's cool. But like somebody just got signed off like a TikTok video. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like a different navigation. But clothing is like, if I make this piece of clothing and you like it, you buy it, you wear it, it's done. Game over. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? I'll now repeat, do it again. How many hoodies we ordering today? 1,000? Bet. Boom. Where are we selling them at? Boom, boom, boom. Hire people. How do you hire people? How do you run a payroll? What is a payroll? What is this? What is that? Back to YouTube again. Learn that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how I had to do it. Just like anything else. Creative aspect, bro, I could just wake up and just be creative. I've always been creative. I just love to be creative. I love to smoke weed. I love to have the freedom to smoke weed and walk around. I love to have the freedom to think about life. I've always thought about life. Some people would say maybe I'm a philosopher, but I've always thought about life and the aspects of life, especially what happened with me and my sister and how that like showed me that like nothing is guaranteed. It's just not. Life don't work that way. So you really got to just understand like it's just not forever. Do you know what I'm saying? I understand. Like I think about like life as like a beach, and like if you look at a beach, like we are just a grain of sand on the beach of life. Like you can't even see it. Like our lives are just meaningless. We're here and gone. But it's like you take that rock, you throw it in that ocean, it ripples. Eventually you stop seeing the ripples, but on a subatomic level, that ripple is forever. So I think about forever, and I also think about like nothing at the same time. And I just understand, and that's it. So for this journey, I'm out here having fun. And that's just what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna be the artist that I am, and thankfully I'm able to earn, and people like the art I make. Because you could be an artist and people be like, "Yo, it's trash." You know what I'm saying? but I'm an artist though. But like you artist, you make it trash. Ain't nobody want it. Yeah. And that's a whole nother conversation. But I feel blessed. I am blessed to make art and to be an artist, and I'm glad that it works. I'm able to do fashion, and I'll always be able to do music. I can always like the more the bigger I get in fashion, I just book the tour, man, and just go rock. Because it's like
that's what's
I can always do music. That's who I am. That's easy for me. So I get the best of both worlds, man, and just be creative and just do my thing.
I love the fact that you connected the two, in that you pointed to the reasoning behind why you had to leave music alone for a little while, because the music business, especially being young, you don't understand the music business is going to make you chase after your own money. And you got to be smart enough to get your own money at the gate when you're starting. which as a young person, you don't know that shit, right?
How could you know it?
Yeah. When you're doing fashion, when you're doing what you do, you're creating something, you're selling it right there. The money's there.
Done.
You're not waiting for no fucking royalty check
Right,
or,
right.
we're going to license this shirt to fucking Macy's and they're going to make $100 million, but I'm only going to get whatever, right? But a lot of people, especially younger people, I feel like they have it easier today in that sense. Because a lot of the people that have gone through the obstacles over these years that they look to, who have maybe catalogs, right, that are timeless, that have still lived on, with the internet that has given them the access to the information. Now they understand, hey, listen, I got to own my own fucking masters. I got to own my publishing because that's my fucking retirement money. You know what I'm saying? So they have a leg up. But being a young man that you were, entering in the time that you did, you didn't have that luxury. But now, with fashion, money's on the fucking table. So whatever you make is because your energy's there. Like, yo, look, we're going to turn this new shit we just got and we're going to flip it over here. We're going to do a pop-up uptown. We're going to go to Jersey. We're going to go. That's a great thing, man. You know, your efforts really bearing out the fruit. Word. I guess you would.
I feel blessed, bro. I feel blessed. I feel thankful. I've always felt that like there's like an energy like watching over me, just making sure I'm okay. And I just got to just show up and just keep working. Any success that I've had in music or art or fashion or anything is just based on me working. So I'm going to just stay focused on the work. I'm not even going to trip out over the success or anything like that. I'm going to just stay focused on the work until I stop working.
Right.
And that's cool too. And I'm looking forward to that also. Yeah. Because I could just chill. I could be creative and chill. I don't have to move at this pace, bro. Like this pace is a time for now. It's like you watching the movie and it's like, okay, we at the part where we in the car chase. We going right now. I'm in the car chase. I'm like, let's do it, bro. We growing this brand. But 3, 4, 5 more years from now, I'm out. I'm gonna just chill. Not to say I'm not gonna be creative, and I still will always be creative, and I'll still earn and make my royalties and all that stuff. But the pace will be different. I'm just gonna shift pace. Like when you at the airport, you got people walking, you say, "Oh, look at these people, suckers!" And you're on this little escalator thing that just pushes you around. I want to get off of both of those. I don't want to be the sucker walking. I don't want to be the person on the escalator. I don't want to be the person chilling on the sides. Just thinking about like, look at that person walking. Why aren't they going on the escalator? Maybe they don't know there is an escalator there. Word.
As you fly by.
Word.
So how do you manage, not the expectations, but personally, how do you manage and balance your life, having children, having a wife and work? Like, how do those things balance out for you? Like, how do you make sure that you give enough time to have an imprint, especially on children being so young? Like, how do you make the time to do that?
Well, I mean, it's like I have to earn and I have to like focus on this moment right now. You know what I mean? Like this is the song I'm writing. I have to write it the best that I can so that I can set up the lifestyle for my kids moving forward. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's important that I do that now and I have to raise them up the best that I can. My wife is really strong and I think she understands. Right? I had CNBC do a piece on me, right?
Right.
And it's like, yo, things are different now. For me, it was like, everybody looked at me like, bro, what are you doing? What you mean you at a print shop? You don't know anything about printing. My dad was like, listen, I told you have to figure it out, but I didn't say nothing about no print shop. My girl's like, you don't know anything about making clothes. What you mean you a fashion designer? You don't know anything about fashion. I'm like, yo, you right though. It's true. I don't have no idea about fashion or printing. Like, I can't even be mad at you. They're like, you should be writing jingles and shit, like shit that you know. And I'm like, true. But don't you see what's happening? Like, don't you see? Yeah. I'm like, yo, I done sold like 25,000 pieces of clothing. Like, I have like 17 employees and I'm on CNBC and celebrities are wearing the clothes. And now it's like, now you need to keep doing that. You need to wake up and go to work. I'll take care. I'll make sure the kids go to school. Get your ass on that bus. I'm like, okay, I got to get on the bus. I got to go to work. I got to figure this out and just keep doing it. And like the more successful that, I become and you become, it's like more people come at you. So it's more about time management.
Right.
It's about, so now I'm just like figuring out the best moves. Like I got guys printing and selling and do. And it's like, I'll be standing there. I'm like, what am I doing? And then my phone is just like, this is what you're doing. Like, you got to do this. Now you got to buy this. And you got to do this. You got to talk to this person. You got to go on this podcast. You got to do this. I'm like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, that's my role now. I got to do that role. I'm the quarterback. So I see all the routes and I just know where the ball's supposed to go. And that's my job. And I got to do that. I got to do it to the best of my ability. So raising my kids, it's like, if all I did was raise my kids, then I'd be a different type of father. Right. But I also don't think that I'm a bad father. Like, I love my kids and I show them love and I'm there, you know, as much as possible. I'm in a position where I could just not show up to work. Like, I'm feel really blessed. You know what I mean? I could be like, no, I'm not going in today. Because you get to a certain point, the business doesn't need you to show up.
Right.
It needs you to do certain other things. But it's like, if I stop showing up, it will still keep going regardless. I just need to make sure I put somebody in position that it goes in the right direction.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But yeah, back to your question, like, how do I balance it? I do the best I can, bro. I'm just a person, human being like anybody else. I got 2 small kids, and you know, when my son's still in diapers, man, pooping in his diapers, like, it's a vibe, you know.
That's the fun time.
Word. It's a vibe.
I'm glad you touched upon that too. And this question is gonna seem a little deep, but it's not really. When did you come to the realization and or understanding the importance of the woman that you chose to be with and share your life with? Because having a child with somebody, that's a lifetime commitment. And some people, you know, they don't stay together, whatever, and that's understandable. But you guys have 2 kids, you got a relationship. When did you realize the importance of her role? Because it seems like she knows what the fuck her position is. When did you say, yo, you know what? She's it. Like, she's that person.
Well, I've been with my girl for 17 years. And when we first started dating, we were 25 years old.
Oh, wow.
And she used to dance for like Rihanna, P. Diddy. She was dancing for Cassie at the time. She was dancing for the artist that had the #1 song in the world.
So you met her on the road?
I worked at a recording studio.
Okay.
I was getting paid $10 an hour to run the recording studio, rehearsal studio. And she was going to school at Broadway Dance Center around the block. This was on Film Center building, 45th and 9th Avenue. So I was like nobody, bro. And I would like watch her on the NFL kickoff and like, you know, like like TRL used to be back in the days. Like, I would watch her and be like, damn, yo, Baby G. I watched her, Ricky Martin, Victoria's Secret. I'm like, yo, how did I end up with a girl that's like Victoria's Secret? I'm like, what the So I'm like, yo, like, she always been up here. She's always been up here. I feel like she came down to like my level of like rocker, smoking weed, we're gonna start a band and do. But that's what she wanted to do. She came from, you know, her small town, and she came here in New York. She wanted to do that. But it's like, I always knew that she was strong. She always been strong. She always been the one, you know, Adara, Baby G. She always been the one. And she was the lead singer of Shinobi. And I think a lot of success that we had was because of her, just because of her look and her dynamic and her skill set. She could rap, sing, scream, some punk rock shit, and then rap, and just like way before all girls right now, everybody's rapping. She was rapping. If you think about how many black female rapper singers of rock bands that you can name, you probably can name 0. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so it's like, she's always been the one. Now I'm gonna have kids with her. It's like, we already knew that when we started dating. She was like, listen, we could do this, but I'm letting you know where I'm at in the long term. We having babies. So if you ain't with this, then you can dip. And I was like, I'm with this. But first we're gonna start
do all this other shit.
First we're gonna start a band and be in a band for a decade and do. And then, you know, when we get older, then boom. And then so it's like, you know, I always knew she was the one, and she's super strong, and I appreciate that she understands. But it's like, bro, if I did not have these celebrities, if we didn't have these celebrities and CNBCs and like all this type of stuff, I don't think that she would still hold it down as a mom, of course, but I don't think she'd be so like, yeah, okay, like, you need to go out there and do this thing. You say you're gonna do this thing, now you gotta do it. So I'm doing my part. That means that you gotta do your part. All right?
Right.
Bong. So it's like, it's a lot of energy from somebody to be like, yo, I know I'm the one, but now you gotta be the one too. So now when I walk around and I make decisions based on the family. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that she's holding it down, and I gotta make my 7:45 to 4:30 decisions gotta be so correct, so that when I get home at 5:45, I can eat dinner with them, brush their teeth, and, you know, do that whole thing. And then go back to work, back to work again, you know what I'm saying? Do with accounting and all this type of stuff, and then just general things. It's a lot of energy, bro. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of energy.
No, it sounds like it's a full, I want to go home. I want to punch out right now.
Whereas we go to sleep, take a nap. I want to watch Netflix, bro.
I wanted to touch upon that because I think that it's important for the viewers to understand, whoever watches this, to understand. Right now, it seems like the relationships between men and women is at a very bad place, right? You have on one side women saying that they don't need men, and then you have the other side, there's a whole faction of men that are saying, you know, we're the prize, and, you know, women just get everything easy, or they get their dinners paid for, a whole bunch of bullshit. And they don't see the value in union. And when I say union, I mean whether you're married or not, a union between a man and a woman, or whatever it is that you call yourself. We need each other. I don't believe at all that I came to this earth and I was meant to be by myself. There are people that go through life and they're totally fine. That's cool. Wow. That's cool for you, not for me.
Wow.
Right? So in that, there needs to be a demonstration of people who are coupled, in a union, married, whatever it is that you call your situation, and show the fruit of that work. Because a relationship is work. It's not, oh, we're in love and my stomach got butterfly. No, it's fucking work. It's work every day.
Right.
But you find a person that you want to do that work with. Because you're going to fight. You're going to fucking, you're a dick, or stop being a bitch, or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, that is the person that you want to go through life doing that work with. And we don't see, I don't see. A lot of people are just like, fuck relationships. They want their satisfaction now, and that's it. And I think that when I have somebody like yourself and you're in a relationship and you have children, it's important for us to demonstrate to the audience, like, yo, this shit still works. There's still people out there that have great careers or pursuing their passions and have a good relationship and have a family. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We need to highlight those things. Or at least I'm going to highlight those things. Right. I think I got a fucking, like a lapel mic over here. So when you were starting to get accolades and recognized, did you feel like it was overwhelming for you? I mean, I know you coming from a musician background and you're used to the crowds and the cheers and stuff, but now in your new venture, were you taken aback like, oh shit, this is happening? Or did it sort of gradually come into play and it just made it really easy to deal with?
Well, like you said, being in music really set me up for this, because what I noticed from being in a band, and I used to play shows and nobody would come to my shows and play solo shows and nobody cared. And all of a sudden I was in a band and people started to care. But the green room was really how I really understood it. So the green room would have nobody in it. Mm-hmm. And then slowly there would be more people and more people until there was one point where it was yo, who are all these people in the green room? Who are these people? Well, this is this manager and this is this label and da da da. I'm like, damn, we must be popping. How did it get like this? And then, you live the other side of being in a band and it's just yo, where's everybody? How come there's nobody in the green room? You're like, oh, we must not be hot anymore. And I guess that's how it works. So when this started, and I started, starting to become successful, I was just who are these people? I was oh, it's the green room. You know what I'm saying? Got it. But now I'm the business person. I don't have any bandmates to make decisions for me, right, or with me. So now I have to make all decisions. So I have to be you in the corner, come here, bro. What's your name? Jonathan? What do you do, Jonathan? Where are you from? How old are you? Tell me who you are. Why are you in the green room? Oh, you're here for that reason? Okay. Let me see if I can help you. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I look at it. And when the sharks start circling, you can really sense it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not tripping on any success. I really just want to make sure that everybody in the green room was supposed to be here. Do you know what I'm saying? And if they're not supposed to be here, either they're going to leave or I'm going to find another green room.
Hey, listen, if you have the access and the means to do so, you should.
What?
Because there's times that in your journey, you're probably going to have people around you that have overstayed their welcome, or they've worked to a place where it's all right, you need to go and venture off and do your own thing or whatever. And that's cool. Everybody is not on the bus of life to make it to the end of the tunnel with you. Some people are passengers, some people are travelers with you in that journey.
For sure.
And being aware of that is cool. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it's ugly, sometimes it's peaceful. And sometimes you don't got to say anything and people are just, hey, yo, listen, this is where I get off.
Word.
And that's healthy.
Sure, you got to let them off.
Yeah.
Can't hold on to them.
I think a lot of people aren't, the internet is a blessing and a curse in that, because people build facades.
For
right?
sure. It's the internet. Yeah, social media.
What? We were talking about perception. And I have a saying, if you control perception, you control deception. And I think a lot of people today with these phones need to realize that they can be deceived very easily by the bells and whistles that they see on the internet.
Word, especially with the AI now and the face joints, they just put somebody else's face on you. And yo, this is how I feel about that, bro. Just to like take that and schism, but it's like how I grew up, like because my dad was a computer programmer, like I had computers from like literally birth. So like I remember the Commodore 64. Do you know what I'm saying? I remember the first Nintendo. I remember Super Nintendo. I remember the first PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? I remember when they went from PlayStation 1 to 2 to PlayStation 2 to 3, PlayStation 3 to 4, and PlayStation 5. And trust that we are not at the end of PlayStation. There's going to be more PlayStation. So when you think about the AI, I'm looking at like it's Commodore 64. I'm like, yo, this is just the beginning. If you can't tell that that's Tom Cruise now, just wait till they get to PlayStation 5. This shit's about to go nuts. Tom Cruise is about to walk in this room and do fucking somersaults, you know what I'm saying? And then grow to be 10 feet tall and shrink down and end up in your glass and you're going to drink them. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just the beginning of this shit. So, like you said, man, if you can't tell the difference now, I think we got to train ourselves, though, to understand, like, what that is and, like, the deep fakes and shit like that. We got to, like, really train ourselves to look behind it and look for authenticity. And if you can really feel the authenticity, that's going to be better until they come out with, you know, AI authenticity. And then if they come out with AI authenticity, then we're going to have to adapt again. But
yeah, man, I think people, and this is the reason why I brought up this sort of topic, because it's desensitizing people to lose what you said, right? The authenticity, that feel is something you feel spiritually, right? In your soul. I can tell this person's talking shit. He's full of shit. I ain't fucking with him. I could tell she's fucking lying. I know she stole that shit. You feel it. It's instinct and it's innate. It's within us. And people need to, as you said, start training themselves to look behind, because pretty soon it's going to be fucking out of here. Who's going to be able to tell more so now? What is this? Is this real? Is this really this person?
Some alien shit, bro. It's like once the alien is the president and then the alien like shows you its real alien face for a second, then people will be like, fuck, I knew these motherfuckers were aliens. Then it's like, all right, so now you're gonna accept the fact that you have an alien president? And then the next question is going to be, is it a male or female alien? Does that matter to you? Now I only want male alien presidents, because only really male alien presidents really know how to run this shit. Like, nah, it's female aliens. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you just gotta just be smart and just be like, you know, use your smartness. I think that we automatically have like a sensor inside us, and if we can really get in tune with that, it's the best. I think we can, if we just really understand that, raise our kids up, let our kids raise up the next. You know what I'm saying? Like, to understand and get in tune with that inner voice. I think that's really what artistry is. But I think that's also what money making is. Decision making, it's all based on that inner voice. Is this hot or not? Am I in this or am I not in this? Like, am I fucking with this president or am I not? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, is this an alien or is it not an alien? Like, what's next? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when I look at politics, and I don't even want to talk about politics really, but when I look at politics, like, there's nothing in it to me where I was like, when I first saw David Bowie in like a music video, like, you know, like someone be like, I like this. This is fire. Do you know what I mean? Let's dance. I was just like, ooh, this is dope. I remember being a kid, my dad would play songs on the radio, and like I heard the Four Tops. They had a song, I'll Be There. Like, I knew as like a 5-year-old that I was like, this is hot. Like, I don't know if this is new or if this is old, but this is fire. You know what I'm saying? And I think that feeling should exist also in politics or anything that we watch on the TV. We should be like, nah. Right away, you should be like, nah, that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And there should be a way to be held accountable for bullshit. I think there's maybe no accountability, and that's why people are like, man, we already knew this was bullshit. I stopped watching that channel years ago. What channel is that? Oh, that's the president. I've been out of that game. Nah, but they got a new president coming. Shit's gonna be fire, bro. They're gonna switch it up and do them. I already seen that show. But if they put on a new show where you're like, this, I like this. That's the thing about it. It's like, I don't know. We could change the topic, but the thing that I like about celebrity and those type of things is like you're able to circumvent political bullshit and just use your popularity. And if you can use that popularity for good, like imagine if you had like, I don't know really who would be like this type of person now, but maybe you had like let's just say like a prototype person. Say you had a famous actor, singer. I don't know, we'll call him Drake. I don't really know if Drake is really for the people, but I hope so. But imagine you had a Drake-like character, but the Drake-like character was like really fire. Like you love like a Jay-Z or something. You were like, nah, this person knows. This person can speak for my community. And all of a sudden they said, you know what? I'm going to be Jay-Z the president. Maybe not like Kanye. He kind of did a little wild. I love Kanye, but like maybe if you had somebody more direct, right, that understood that role, like, and the importance of that role. Not to say that Kanye didn't understand it, but if you had somebody that was just like, now I'm gonna use my popularity and I'm gonna put myself in that position and I'm gonna really help the world, like help the whole world. I remember when Dennis Rodman went to like South Korea, I think it was, but like the president couldn't go do that. Dennis Rodman is the one. Like, shout out to Dennis Rodman, but it's like bridging the gap between like, I just like this person. Like, I just want to have Dennis Rodman with me at the game. Like,
Absolutely.
that's it. Like, period. Like, why don't they want to have you president at the game? Like, why can't Dennis Rodman type qualities exist in you? Maybe not the crazy wild part, but maybe like the part where like people like really like him. What about the likability part? What about like the helping the people part? I always felt like Dennis Rodman like actually cared about people. I could feel his pain. I could feel his joy in his heart. You know what I'm saying? Even as a player, like when he was switching his hair color up, I'm like, this dude is different. I like different. I like when people speak their heart and they're actually real about it. You know what I'm saying? And when they do that, imagine you apply that to politics and you apply that to governing. I think like people might want to go to Washington, D.C. if like the White House wasn't just a White House, but it has some color on it. Imagine you could throw some art up on them little arches and be like, ooh, we switching it up. People would be like, yo, I'm taking a picture. White House. Anyways, continue.
Essentially leveraging one's influence to position themselves, which is basically what those politicians do, but they're fucking wicked. But having a person who had that influence and leveraging it to a point where they can put them in a position such as the president to take care of people and actually do the people's
good work.
Because you look at the people we do have and it's based off of greed, control, and power, which we get it. Everybody who's super uber wealthy doesn't want to lose that and they just want more for themselves. But when you look out into the landscape of the country as a whole, there's so many people suffering unnecessarily.
I don't know what it is, bro. I don't even know if politics are good or bad because I don't really like pay attention to it. But I would love to have somebody up there smoking weed, talking about,
Regular Joe.
Let's think about this for a second. What are we going to do? I'd rather see the leaders of the countries having a beer, smoking some weed on TV. I'll be like, okay, at least I see these guys talking. I like it. Versus like a single person, totally rogue, talking about we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And it's like, I can't really judge. Are you on our side or not? Not say that you're not. Like, I would chill with Joe Biden, be like, yo, Biden, pull up. Like, we gonna drink. Let's have a drink, Biden. Let me see what you about, Biden. Let's hang out. You know what I mean? You could check me out. I'm gonna check you out. You might be a great guy. Do you know what I'm saying? So I really can't say if he's the best or, politics is a crazy thing, man. People are so like, with the Trump energy and then this energy and that energy. I say, man, it's just like, I really just love people. And I want to see everybody get together and spread love.
That's the Brooklyn way.
Word.
You know what I mean? And I think that when you start taking yourself to that place, and I'm sorry I'm tapping my phone, but
it's cool, bro.
When you start working from a place there, when you start there, things can get done. It's the whole reason why I do the things that I do. Like I said, I've said this many a times, it's great to be able to interview people who have that star, like a Dennis Rodman. I would love to sit across from like, just have that conversation, right? A regular, round the way Jose. And make people understand that, this person's a humongous, like a tremendous legendary basketball player, but he eats, drinks, shits, sleeps just like you do.
For sure.
And he struggles too.
Word.
Just like you do. And in these conversations, people can make that connection and go, yo, you know what? My life's not that fucking bad. You understand?
Word.
So before we get up out of here, because me and my man Doobie could stay here and talk for hours, why don't you tell everybody where they could find you and what are the next sort of events that you might be having where the people can go and pick up your pieces?
For sure. You can find Snow Milk at Real Snow Milk on any social media. You can find me at Doobie Duke Sims on any social media. And if you're in New York, every Saturday and Sunday, we're at like 5 or 6 pop-ups per day. Once the holidays come, we'll be at Columbus Circle every day, Union Square every day, and every day, regardless, we're at the Chelsea Market, Artisan Fleas, every single day. And you can just tap into the Instagram. All the information is on the Instagram all the time. So just tap into the Instagram, lock in. Real Snow Milk is the website, and you can buy product there. If you're not in New York, you can buy some cool clothes. And I just wish everybody the best. Only the most love for everybody.
That's what's up. As always, I'm your host, Mr. A. This is the Set 6145, the podcast that gives you real people telling real stories. and we'll see you on the next episode.